What is going on, everybody? Paul here, coming at you with your Crypto Coffee update, where we start the day by discussing news and upcoming events in the cryptoverse, all while enjoying our fresh cup of coffee. So please join me now in a great start to the morning with our simultaneous sip. Nothing beats French press coffee. Give it a try if you haven't. It's good stuff. Let's go ahead and start out the day with our first segment, your News Byte. Today we're going to be taking another bite of what's shaping up to be a startlingly overvalued project. Despite not even having launched their main network, this entity is valued more than SpaceX, the private rocket company that actively delivers payloads to space for various governments. We're of course talking about EOS. There's a well-written and fantastic article by Matteo Leibowitz on Medium that discusses some of the conceptual misunderstandings in EOS and how the Larimer-designed blockchain actually peddles some fictions and half-truths to its user base in an effort to potentially justify this nosebleed valuation. After we discuss some of the main points, I urge you to go check out the article for yourself and give it some claps if you enjoyed the read like I did. Nowadays, there are tons of zero-cost ways to support hard work. Claps, likes, shares, subscribes, reblogs, retweets, bilateral treaties of mutual defense. Okay, maybe not the last one, but the point of the matter is it costs you nothing to support hard work. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first issue explored by Matteo is what's termed the scalability trilemma. Basically, for a network to work well as it becomes adopted, it needs three things: scalability, decentralization, and security. If any one of these critical components is missing or insufficient, then it spells future disaster for the network, at least without proper overhauls or amendments to the network as time goes on. Issues can be sufficiently fixed, and keep in mind there's no such thing as a perfect system that's fully decentralized, secure, and scalable. There's only good solutions. Oftentimes, one of these variables is particularly compromised or seen as secondary in favor of the others as the network grows. Matteo highlights the critical order of importance for these three variables, proposing decentralization to be by far the most important of the three components for early on blockchain development. This point is crucial to understand if you're doing your own research and keeping an open mind. This is brand new technology, and sometimes what we are used to runs counter to what works in emerging technologies. This sentence by Matteo in relation to network throughput sums everything up quite succinctly. Quote, "This is a valid critique of blockchains and yet fails to recognize the fundamental value that blockchains provide: censorship resistance. If blockchain platforms do not provide censorship resistance, i.e. they rely on a set number of trusted actors to produce and validate blocks, then we have simply returned to a legacy database system, albeit at the expense of the efficiency that legacy systems like Amazon Web Services provide." End quote. As I said, this point is crucial to understand. Existing systems are capable of massive amounts of throughput and user interaction. They're able to achieve this feat by compromising decentralization in favor of scalability and security. It's hard to argue that Amazon does not offer a wide variety of services for almost any size business in a secure fashion. However, in the same breath, it's very easy to see that Amazon is in no way decentralized. They're a company. Alright, let's take a brief intermission. If it feels like we're moving through some of these dense concepts pretty quickly, it's because we are. Don't worry if you don't understand the whole thing immediately. As I mentioned, this is brand new technology, so you're far from alone with that sensation. Matteo's article is full of explanations and sources that we don't explore in detail here, and if you have any questions, feel free to join the Discord or send me an email personally at paul@cryptide.cc. Alright, intermission over. Let's keep digging into this article. The next section of Matteo's article explores the consensus algorithm of EOS, delegated proof of stake. In this system, 21 nodes, known as block producers, take turns validating each block. This centralized component of the system allegedly allows for an incredibly high throughput of over 1 million transactions per second while maintaining transparency via community involvement. The system hypothesizes that since token holders can vote to remove bad block producers, then these entities are financially disincentivized from acting in a malicious way. This is far from the truth, however, as individual block producer nodes are self-interested and wish to maximize their profits. As Matteo writes, quote, "If a system has been designed that ultimately encourages plutocracy and collusion among block producers, then there is absolutely no guarantee for developers and users that their applications and transactions will not be censored." End quote. This is the most important part of the article in my opinion. Censorship resistance does not exist on a dynamic scale. It is very much a binary property. End quote. Said another way, something cannot be sort of censorship resistant if a system in place does not consciously maximize protection against known vectors of censorship and centralization, then it in turn cannot be called censorship resistant. Here's an example. I have a car that can go 200 miles per hour, but there's a chip in the car that limits the speed to 50 miles an hour. If this chip is removed, the car's engine is flooded and the car is ruined. So I can realistically say this car can go 200 miles an hour, but in reality it effectively cannot. It can be said that EOS maintains censorship resistance with 21 centralized block producer nodes. However, the accuracy of this statement is becoming ever more dubious as details of the EOS system come under even more heavy scrutiny. Keep in mind, a synthetic test of the Ethereum network also showed that the Ethereum network can handle about 1 million transactions per second. However, what happens on the testnet in isolation isn't always what happens in reality. Here's a real-life example from an existing crypto project that has a working mainnet and is tested and works pretty well, IOTA. IOTA initially proposed a consensus algorithm known as curl-P. When proven to be cryptographically insecure, they switched over to what's known as SHA-3, also known as KCAC, new consensus algorithm. The IOTA network includes a centralized point known as the coordinator node and is controlled by the IOTA dev team. The purpose for this single point of centralization is to ensure that only the IOTA dev team can control 33% of the network, a threshold that would allow for network hijacking in the DAG system. However, no matter what justification is proposed, this is still a single point of centralization in the network. It's subject to all of the criticisms and vulnerabilities we've discussed thus far in respect to centralized networks and their throughput capacity. Because of the existence of the coordinator node, IOTA too is centralized. For context, we've covered about half of Mateo's article in our time together so far. Like I said, it's very well written and tackles these critical issues in an objective as possible yet hard-hitting way. I highly recommend taking a look at the rest of the article on your own time. The concepts of decentralization and scalability are becoming ever more important as we see these centralized giants attempting to corner the market of these emerging decentralized technologies. Food for thought. If a project like EOS, which doesn't even have a mainnet, merits a valuation of $15 billion, then what does a project like SuperNet, on which Komodo functions, merit in terms of its valuation? One begins to wonder, where do these billions even come from, and why are they pouring into these specific projects? More questions than answers here. That's it for our news bite. I hope this was able to give you guys a bit more information about the EOS system. What do you think about this kind of review? Let me know below in the comments. How do you feel about centralization and decentralization? We talk about that sort of thing all the time on the Discord, and we would love to have your input. So let's go ahead and finish up today's Crypto Coffee update by looking at the upcoming events in the world of crypto. For Wednesday, May 2nd, we have the Unite Seoul 2018 conference kicking off in Seoul, South Korea, sponsored by the gaming giant Unity and their cryptocurrency partner, EngineCoin. We have the Aeon Dev Expo in Toronto, Silicon Valley Entrepreneurs Festival in San Francisco, the Crypto Invest Summit in Los Angeles is wrapping up its last day today, and Ripple's having an AMA. For Thursday, May 3rd, the Futurama Blockchain Innovators Summit is kicking off in Dubai, the Community Ethereum Developer Conference is happening in Toronto, Veritasium is having a meetup in Amsterdam, Pivx is having a meetup in Amsterdam as well, and Basic Attention Token is having their meetup in Seoul, South Korea. That's all we got for Thursday, May 3rd, and for your Crypto Coffee update, as usual, links below in the description, along with a big old list of B-coins. They're not bad projects, there's just way too much to talk about in respect to everyone's time. That's all we have for today. Like, share, subscribe. Look forward to talking to you guys in the Discord. My name is Paul, and talk to you guys next time.